This podcast is brought to you by Primary Arms. Primary Arms seeks to provide the best shopping experience for everything firearms. With over 13,000 products from over 400 top brands, Primary Arms carries a complete selection of rifles, handguns, firearms parts, shooting gear, apparel, and more. Every order comes with a commitment to superior service, backed by fast shipping and an expert support team. Primary Arms, serving freedom since 2008. Find out more at frn.deals/PA. Welcome to the AR-15 podcast. This show is for you if you just bought your first rifle or if you've been building them for years. There is something we can all do to take our black rifles to the next level. My name is Nick Dooley, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Garth Hofer.
Hey, bud. It's another Thursday, and my gun room is a freaking mess.
You know, that's okay. My desk is too, and my office is suspiciously full.
Yeah, but you do a lot more in your office than I do in mine. I've been lazy. Like I have two gun safes, and they're both basically empty. I have most of my guns on my couch behind me, or on my workbench over there, and I wasn't working on them. I just kept using them and not put them away, and it's just I have a little path to get to the door right now. It's awful.
Well, that is fair. Yeah, I have everything from night vision cameras to a refrigerator-sized box of guns.
I mean, refrigerator-sized box of guns is cool. I know who those are for. So, sadly, though, those are not any of my December purchases. Those are all raffle guns for the fire department. So, I still have yet to buy my December gun, and we are coming up on the end of December here.
Well, that is something I'm sure that we can work on here shortly because, well, reasons.
But yeah.
No, so have you done anything since our last escapade?
Since the last escapade of going out and doing the night shoot, yeah, actually we taught a class. So there was that. And beyond that, though,
that doesn't even register to me anymore.
Yeah, that we're instructors and we teach things like that. It seems so long ago.
Well, it's just something I do now. So I'm just like, oh yeah, I guess I did teach a class, didn't I?
Yeah, kind of forgot about that. I honestly did till yesterday. I was like, oh yeah, what did we do last Saturday? Oh yeah, that's what happened. Yeah. So now beyond that, no.
Yeah, I guess we taught a class, and then I did a bunch of class prep, if you will, preparing some materials and doing all of the nerd background information and, researching things and collecting information and all of that stuff that, where I read things, but no one else does or finds them interesting.
Yeah. No, you've done that a few times, so go on.
Yeah, no, that's really just what I was doing. It was, hey, we're doing this, and that is 100% what's happening now. And I'm glad to see that our Rumble now works with everything we have going, so that is extra special awesome.
Well, it's good. I'm glad people can join us on the Rumble.
Yeah. So I was just double checking all of our tech that we have going through. I'm not sure if we'll be able to see the comments on Rumble unless I keep that window open. But and yeah, that is where we are now. Trying to not be too overly undramatic as I've sat here because I have a little bit of brain drain right now, like 2 hours, 2 hours of writing a class on sighting systems kind of made my brain fog go, and I went, that's the great time to do it is right before we do a show. But anyways,
Yeah.
we're not going to talk about sighting systems tonight, as even though you might think we would, because that's what's on the tip of my brain. We're going to take a little bit of a departure tonight. We will talk a little bit about, obviously our shooting and stuff like that. Also, guys, if you haven't checked it out yet, we do have a bunch of pictures and stuff up from our night shoot, just comparing and contrasting that, the different lights that we had that we used last week. And those results were quite surprising.
No, it was a really fun time, and the results were something to behold. For myself and Craig, who really don't get to experience shooting in the dark, just because it's something you don't really go out and do a whole lot. It was interesting to see the different 3 or 4 functioning lights we had, and the differences they had. And if you guys missed that episode, please go check it out, because we shared a lot and we learned a lot. So
yeah, we definitely changed or looked at a bunch of stuff anyway. And that was super interesting. I know that I've even gone back and thought about a little bit more and changed some of that around. And then, just really thought more about it, which I'm not going to talk about now, because I think there's still a lot to unpack with shooting at night and shooting in the dark.
Yeah, no, a lot more I need to do to prepare myself to be a better night shooter. Just having the proper equipment would be a good start. Having a decent holster that holds my gun and light would be a nice add-on.
Yep. Well, and like getting into optics and some of that stuff where we push back and do those things will be super important to look at as well, I think.
Yeah.
Is stuff that might not get quite dim enough to use at night.
Yeah. No. Yeah. As far as like brightness and all the good stuff, I know I had that problem with my AR being too bright, looking through my prism right away and blinding myself. And then it took me a while to readjust and find center and stuff. But all cool things. Definitely you need to go out and do more of it, just to be seasoned in it.
That, and it's one of those things where you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
It's you really well. You go through. Like I could do this. Like I've shot in the dark. It's the same as shooting in the daylight. I'm just going to use a light. And then when you go to do it, it's, this is actually substantially different.
Well, the shooting in the dark that I used to do, we used to use a giant spotlight that had a lot more lumens than the ones we were using last Thursday. So between those and the headlights and other things, yeah. So this was a different type of shooting.
Yeah, it's a different type of night shooting.
It's a way different, yeah. Way different type.
Yep. So right on. Now tonight, I know that we're going to change kind of what we are talking about, not as much from the normal stuff, but this is departure, and this could be follies and first aid. Because I know that we were going to have a guest tonight, but unfortunately they had some other stuff come up. And but we're going to talk about one of, you talked about having the right equipment. And I think that one of the things people need to have, or that people need to have is, aside from like rifle, sling, you should just have a first aid kit in general.
And not so much, the med kits and the tourniquets and everything like that, because I know you carry them and I carry them, and our setups are both different but equally. I mean, we feel prepared enough for what we have to face, but
Garth, I'm
like you
going to
said,
interrupt you
it's
quick.
just a simple.
Aaron,
Yeah.
no, just no. You are incorrect, sir, and that's okay. Tampons are not made to stop the flow of blood. They're made to soak blood up, and that is the opposite of what you want to happen in first aid.
Exactly. Yeah. Don't do that. Cotton rockets are not welcomed in this genre.
No, but no, as go on, Garth. I'm sorry, I just had to correct that.
Well, I mean, I was looking through my kit earlier today and just going over some things and what I want to add and what I want to change after doing it for a year. And like you said, just a simple first aid kit. I have a lot of like the heavy hitter in times of a catastrophic event, but I don't have just the simple things.
So I have I have different kits, right? Like when I teach so when we taught a class on Thursday, I pull out my big, combat lifesaver bag. And they are, it's a big bag with a ton of gear, and it's got a slam splint, all of those types of things. It's I can fix fractures. I can do a lot of stuff that I probably shouldn't be doing as a just run-of-the-mill civilian wandering around. I still have IV kits in it. Not that I would ever use one of those for anything other than a hangover, allegedly. And
allegedly.
But this week my daughter and I went through and built a handful of I call them ouch pouches. Boo-boo kits, grab an ouch pouch that are just those like I call them an ouch pouch because it's for the things that make you go like ouch. And it's the little scrapes and scratches.
Yeah.
And those are super important to have, along with like a trauma kit. But, so Aaron, I'm gonna get into that in a little bit. Like Skittles are super important because as dumb as that sounds, like a little, Halloween candy pack of Skittles, if someone's having a diabetic seizure from lack of insulin, that is something that can help. I had it happen where I had a customer come in and his blood sugar started just nosediving, and I was worried about having to call an ambulance for him. And ever since then, I carry glucose packets. It's a faster acting than a Skittles, but Skittles are an example of like, oh, hey, this is super easy to do. But like that
it doesn't have to be the most advanced, but
go ahead.
No, sorry, your screen's a little glitchy, so I'm trying to hit the delay. I'm saying every kit doesn't have to be like the most advanced, but if you have something that works, why not just go with, like you said, instead of glucose, carry a Skittle packet. I mean, if it gets the job done and it's relatively cheap but effective, then absolutely go for it.
Yeah, and some of those things where the basic first aid kits that you'd see, like the plastic or the little, like I've always called them kind of a joke first aid kit, the little pouches that are $5-10. Those do have a place, and it's those aren't there to, oh man, like I really hurt something, this is really bad. But it's, oh hey, there's a that's only for the morning after, and that's an extra shot of bourbon that you put in your coffee. But when you go through and have, these ouch pouches, like I said, my daughter and I just made, it's granted, we got on Amazon and I bought a bunch of the single use packets just because it's like, oh, I'm going to make a handful of these. So they've got, 10 little packets of the ibuprofen and 10 of Tylenol and, 5 Benadryls, 5 little packets of hydrocortisone cream and some, and then there's an antiseptic wipe. It's little crap like that. Also, one of the things that I put in all of them is I put a deal of aspirin. There 2 doses of aspirin in each one.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not for headaches.
Yeah.
But the aspirin is straight up for, if somebody's having a heart attack, best thing you can give them is aspirin.
No, there's little things you can do to prevent, or help out. Because, in my area, an ambulance ride is 30 minutes to a hospital. Well, like 20 because we get a speed, but, it's still, we have a 30-mile distance to go to a hospital.
And that's when the ambulance gets to you.
Yes, that is correct.
That's not saying like when you dial 911, one magically appears. Because there's legitimately been times in Pierre where I know I've heard radio calls come through for ambulances, and you guys have had them fairly close, and the people who were 20 miles away, beat the ambulance that was 5 miles away to the hospital.
Yeah.
So it's, when seconds count, help is, minutes away. But that's why, having a little first aid kit like this, and why, the things like that, aspirin and ibuprofen and that little ouch pouch are important to have. Now, that's not trying to discount saying, oh, that's all you need is one of those basic, boo-boo kit for scrapes and stuff like that. Because you totally need that first aid or, individual first aid kit with a pressor dressing and a tourniquet and, nasal esophageal airway and all of those things. Yeah, totally need one of those. But for the purposes of like everyday life, you can keep that in your car. If you have a backpack, you'll carry it on you. I know that there are people who wear the ankle first aid kits that have a bunch of that stuff on them every day. And, we've seen it at a class where a guy got out and put it on to make sure that we all saw that he had his IFAC on his ankle.
I remember that class, yes. Yeah, that did happen. I think that was more for show than actually wanting to use it, but
I don't know. He didn't like me.
No, he hated you. It was funny to watch. But that's not the point of the show.
No, it is not. Now, Garth, what are things that you think are important and you should have in your first aid kit?
Oh, it's as simple as some good Band-Aids, man. Because I don't know how many times I've been at the range and I've got snake bitten or... Go ahead. Yeah.
Before we do that, let's break it down a little bit. Let's do let's do an ouch pouch.
Okay.
Then let's do the IFAC, and then let's do your medic bag.
Okay, that's fair.
Because I know that we both carry all 3 of those items.
We do.
And so why don't you go through and talk a little bit about why you have what items and what, and then I have this here because reason X, and then why you might not have that in something else. So start with your ouch pouch.
So okay, in my ouch pouch, I have set up in my pickup currently and one in my Jeep. And I'd like to make 2 more, one for the house and one for my travel bag. so I don't have to keep taking stuff out. But in my ouch pouch, I have simple things like Band-Aids because you never know when you're going to get cut or nicked or, poked or whoever. And you have little blood loss. So you definitely want some Band-Aids there, first off. I also agree with you. I have the ibuprofen, the Aleve, the Tylenol, the Tums, some,
Old
what's
man.
that? Pep, yeah, old man Pepsid AC stuff, for heartburn and all that good stuff. Simple things like that. When you're away from home and you don't want to run out to the store and spend $10 on a bottle for 2 pills, it's a pain in the butt. So those are things I like to carry in the stuff. Oh, like Q-tips. Q-tips are another big one. Love carrying Q-tips because they have more than just obviously the purpose of going in the ear, but they're great for cleaning firearms as well and things of that nature. And so those are things I like to carry in my ouch pouch.
Yep. So again, the two big things that I think are super important is it's a little bit over the counter drugs, not a crazy amount. Like you don't need to throw full bottles of anything in here, which is why I did the Amazon
Yeah.
single packages. And
Mm-hmm.
part of that's because yes, I am not a doctor and I shouldn't hand out medicine to anyone because liability. The other part of that is if someone's stung by a bee and they start swelling up, I might do that. Hey, are you allergic to bees? No, not really, but I'm kind of sensitive. Like, I don't want to hit them with my EpiPen.
Yeah.
Right. But hey, why don't you take some Benadryl? And, a little bit of Benadryl goes a long way. And that's one of those where you see that a lot. It's even if someone eats something that's cooked in a little bit of shellfish,
Yeah.
having if they have food allergies and might not know it, it's like, oh man, that's starting to get bad. A little bit of Benadryl goes a long way to help that because you might not have access to an EpiPen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of those, that is a first aid thing that people kind of forget about.
No, those are simple things that you can get at any drugstore and build yourself a nice little kit for probably, 20, $25.
So you want to know the sleeper, straight up the sleeper place to get a bunch of stuff if you're going to build. If you want to build some ouch pouches for your range bag and your car and stuff like that. And that's the reason why I call it, I will refer to them forever as the ouch pouch instead of a first aid kit because there's so much different stuff that's it's all first aid. Yeah, this is the ouch pouch. The sleeper to build a couple of those is the dollar store.
Oh yeah.
So hit up a Dollar Tree, something like that, and you can buy 4 packs of Band-Aids, for $5. You can get some of that other stuff. And Vince says, Benadryl is also incredibly safe and proven. I don't know. I have never heard of anyone being like, I'm allergic to Benadryl.
Mm-hmm.
Which if you're allergic to Benadryl, that's that's bad. But
It's unfortunate.
The hitting a dollar store to make some of these little ouch pouches where it's okay, hey, have this and you run through and then you can build out a couple of them in just little Ziploc bags. Which I mean that's what we did. It's little Ziploc bags that, hey, we have this, we can carry it, throw it in a bag, throw it in a car. I carry one in my lunchbox and then I have one in my range bag because I've carried a first aid kit or a trauma kit as well. But the thing I use all the time is my little ouch pouch. And I've had to continuously kind of keep those refilled. And that's the one where
I agree.
Like you said, it's you're at the range and you lean up and get cut by staples coming out of a piece of wood on a target. Anything like that. This is the little kit that you have for that. That's the ouch pouch.
Yeah. The simple, non-life threatening, I don't need to go to the hospital, but it'd be sure nice to have something to soothe this right now.
Yeah. Yeah, that is definitely it definitely where it's at. And then, so moving on from there, like obviously we have the ouch pouch, which is important, and that's like the $10 kit that you buy in the camping section at Walmart or in the pharmacy from Walmart. That's the same thing.
Yep.
But what about, like, what's the next step up from the ouch pouch for you?
Well, my next kit is just combined into one big one. I have two different kits. One I personally built, and one that the fire department has given me, because we give each of our firefighters a EMT bag, whether we are EMT or not. Not to say that everything in there is, that we're qualified to use. A lot of it we are. It's simple things like dressings, bandages, a blood pressure reader, for we have glucose in there for diabetics and things like that. They actually have smelling salts in there, which I can't believe they gave to, random people, but I love them. So I haven't used one yet. I can't wait till I get to use one. But we have smelling salts.
I'll remember that.
Oh, yeah.
So I have a little bit different system. As I said earlier, I have my CLS bag, which would be the same thing as your EMT bag. It's just, a little bit different shaped, but same materials. I do carry, in my range bag, and actually just with me in general, I carry a trauma kit. And that's something that goes in my, I call it my lunch bag. It's, I have a backpack that I carry a lunch in, and it's more or less my man purse that has the stuff I need to get through the day. And with that, and that one has, that's a vacuum sealed, like a food saver bag. And it has, a tourniquet, I call it a combat dressing now, because you can't say Israeli dressing anymore. But it has, one of those in it. It has gloves. I have a bunch of butterfly bandages in it. I even have super glue in mine, as just in case, because that's that's a major bleeding. Like, okay, this is what we're going to use to start saving a life. Like, it's not as much.
Yep.
I know Vince earlier in the comments was saying that butterfly closures should be more common, and they really should. But I know that having the, I've used super glue on myself a bunch, and I should probably throw that in my ouch pouches as well. But I also know that many other people aren't as comfortable doing that as I am.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, oh, well, that got laid open. I know what we should do. Let's throw a little super glue on it. And
I've also done that. Or, a paper towel and black electrical tape. So, I mean, things of that nature.
Yep. But, then there's, moving on from what that is, because that's one that all that stuff literally fits like in a cargo pocket. But, one other thing that I carry in all of my vehicles is I have a staple kit. Because you can buy staple kits on Amazon, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, I will pull one up here as we talk. But so, have you ever had staples, Garth?
No, thankfully not.
So
I probably should have a few times, but I didn't.
I have. And I have definitely had staples before. And what I'm talking about looks super, like, these are super simple. I'm going to share the screen for anyone watching live. And this is just to Amazon, but you can see that this is just it literally has a handful of staples in it, and you push a wound together and then staple it shut. And like I have really good friends that have had that done. You staple large wounds shut with it, and I have used them on myself, and I maybe once, and then I can also say that like these are things that I've used before on animals for sure, and I have had buddies who they looked at and went, yeah, we're not going to be able to stitch that, so we're going to staple it. Because a friend of mine got the back of his head split open on a door jam, and the medic looked at it and went, yeah, that's up against your skull, bud. Can't really stitch that. And he got 5 staples in the back of his head.
That tickled.
Yeah. And yes, they are easier than doing a suture. If you don't know how to suture, it can be difficult. And I know that no living person wants me to suture them if they have a choice.
Yeah.
Because I have done sutures many times, and like way more than I probably should, but they're not pretty. And a prolapse needle is a little bit different than.
He once sewed a lightning bolt in someone.
My name is not Murdoch.
All right. So here's one of the things I forgot to mention that I love carrying in my sales bag. Chest seals. I picked these up on Amazon. They're the Everlight Survival. Everlightsurvival.com is where they're from, but I got them on Amazon. And I have pulled one of these out and used it and played with it a little bit. I did not have a major catastrophe of a wound or anything like that, but I just wanted to see what they were like. So I stuck one on my body and kept it on for 12 hours. Sounds weird, but I just tried to see if they actually worked. And so I put a piece of gauze under there and showered with it and everything like that. And the next day it was completely dry except for the goop itself from the seal. So 100% believe in these chest seals that I have. They're a 6x6 bandage, and obviously they're not meant to be on there for that long a period of time, but they do the job well.
Yeah, and I have I keep the hyphen vent chest seals, which are the North American Rescue ones, which you can also get off of Amazon. That is that's one of the things that I keep in all of my kits as well. Is a chest seal is a very good thing. I hope I never have to use one. But sucking chest wounds are a bitch, I'm told. But with that, like I said, the tourniquet, the chest seal, having that in it, those are all one thing we haven't talked. So, do you carry combat gauze, or what I call combat gauze?
Yes, yes, I do.
Quick clot or combat gauze, as that's what I learned it as earlier, and then it was quick clot. The early days of quick clot got some bad press around it because of what it was made of. So when it first came out, and it was just this is a powder you pour into a wound.
Yeah.
Like that was very, it was bad, and you had to cut it out, and it was really not good.
Mm.
And the big thing that was originally in it was, I can't remember which, it was a shellfish, but it was,
Yeah, it's something nasty that would have definitely not been good for me had I used it.
yeah, it was.
It would have got me.
Yeah, it's, so they've changed it all now, and the quick clot devices do not contain any shellfish materials.
Mm-hmm.
And that was in the very, very early, like when they very first tried it or first fielded it, they had some in it, and that has since been gotten rid of. And that's something that you don't need to worry about.
That's good, because I definitely have had a reaction, and I've been dying twice from the same thing.
Yeah, and
Sorry, I got
no,
distracted.
that's fine. That happened to me too. I was reading here, but yeah, it was. So that was what original quick clot was kind of used for, and now you find it in gauze that is impregnated, and like this isn't a we're going to teach you how to use it type event. But if you have a wound bad enough to actually use quick clot effectively,
Mm-hmm.
you are going to need more than just the bandage with quick clot on it, because you will pack your wound with the quick clot and then pack it with regular gauze on top of it.
Yeah.
And then put a dressing on top after it's full. And whoever you are doing that to is going to be very angry at you.
Yes, they will.
Yes, it was once explained to me that, remember, you just made a new opening and you're shoving stuff into a human, and they're going to be mad.
Well, if they're conscious still.
Yeah, if they're conscious, you might get swung at, which is why it's, hey, bud, how we doing? Mind if I work on you? I guess that's one thing that we didn't talk about. If you're coming up to perform first aid on another person, especially if they're conscious, even though Good Samaritan laws are a thing in a lot of places like where we live, consent. Hey, bud, how we doing? Mind if I help you? Sorry if I start helping you? That is a real thing that you kind of have to be knowledgeable about. Because if, I just cut myself or was in a car accident and had was bleeding and somebody just came running up on me, it might be bad for that person.
Yeah, element of surprise.
Yeah, some people should not be surprised often.
Yeah, that's
allegedly
true.
That's me. But so again, back to so we just were talking about the trauma kit or the IFAC. That's the individual first aid kit. This is yes, and Matt is correct. If they're unconscious, you have implied consent. If they're still conscious, ask.
Yeah.
But that is the individual first aid kit, and this is one of those where I'm going to talk about one thing in a training aspect or something that we probably don't touch on a lot. If you train with a group of buddies, or you shoot with the same people all the time, especially if you're going to train in your kit with your buddies, or if you're out LARPing, playing airsoft, whatever, military units will standardize where they put things on their kit for a reason. And that reason is so that it's in the same place on everyone. Because if Garth and I were both wearing our kit and Garth went down and I came down to work on him, I would use the equipment out of his kit, not mine.
Yeah, and I know my kit is set up very differently than yours.
Yeah. Mine has a purpose, but a lot of my stuff is my medical stuff. I have stuff in easy reach, and I also have stuff where it's like, nope, that's obviously for someone else to grab.
Yep.
But that is because of, again, that's a different training and style that we kind of both have.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I actually remember that conversation we had in Colorado when a guy asked you why your tourniquet was located in a certain position. He said, well, it's so the next guy can grab it. And then he got offended and walked away.
I said, go on. What? I'm not supposed to be using that. But what do you do? And now, so we've covered, the ouch pouch onto the IFAC or trauma kit. Now, what do you carry in your big medic bag?
So in my big medic bag, it's basically the same thing as my firefighter kit, just not as advanced. I don't have the breathing tubes and the heart rate monitor and everything like that. I keep it very simple. I carry at least 2 tourniquets, maybe 2 or 3 tourniquets in there, because most of the times we're not thinking that we're going to come up on a gunfight. We're thinking we're going to come up on a car wreck. We're going to come up on an accident, something along those lines. I farm. There's always accidents out there. I haven't had one in a very long time. I'm very thankful for that. But mine is more for the everyday occurrence accident that could take place. And so I carry tourniquets because you never know how many victims you're going to have at a scene. Chest seals. I have bandage gauze. I have packing gauze. I go all the way down to simple as just band-aids in my kit. But I want something in the backpack so that when need arises, because chances are you're still going to have to get there on foot. You just can't drive up in your vehicle. I want to be able to sling that over my shoulder and go in the direction that help is needed. And so it's a kit I built myself, and it probably cost me, I don't know, maybe $150, but it's honestly, it's worth it because I consider all of them to be life-saving measures that I would like to help someone with.
Yeah. And again, like, so my big kit, it's, I have, again, with the IFAC and stuff like that, I have the, RE Factor drive-by kit mounted to the headrest of my pickup. And that is another trauma kit that I can just grab and run with. And that's for like major bleeding, or that like, oh, hey, we came up on something really bad. Like, let's get a tourniquet on this. The importance of tourniquets, when we talk about like being farmers and involved in agriculture, I know that I told the story a while ago, to a couple people, but I don't know if I've ever said it here. Like, I remember growing up, a cousin of mine, first cousin, so a close family relative, got his arm cut off, in a tractor. And he was, I think he was 12 or 15 years older than I was. And, he lost an arm, and they ended up being able to get it reattached. Like it all of his digits didn't work quite right, but he didn't get the sweet pirate hand. But
they put on the right side, right?
Yeah, they didn't give him one of these. But no, they talked about it, and he went into shock so fast that he bent down and picked up his. It was it happened. He yelled, reached down, picked up his arm with his other hand, and said, "Well, I guess we better go to town, huh?" And walked to the pickup.
Wow.
And then when he sat down in the pickup, he passed out. But it was when I was like, "Oh, well, I guess we should go to town, huh?" And he was 10 miles from town, and they're like, "Oh my god!"
Shock will do crazy things to a guy, man. Like what a person can endure while they're under shock is insane.
But that is one of the things where tourniquets are a great point of contention. There are a ton of different tourniquets out there, like a ton of tourniquets, and like almost as many types of tourniquets, but there are only two that I would really trust personally, and that.
And which ones are those?
So I carry more than this, but the soft T, so SOFTT, and the cat tourniquet. Those are the ones that I 100% trust all the time. And those are ones that like I buy mine direct from the source. Those are my two go-to tourniquets. Like straight up, that's it. And,
I carry cats and everything.
Yep, it's the SWAT tees are the other acceptable tourniquets, and there is one that like you can catch a little bit of hate for saying that you like it, but I carry one of these as well, and I always will, and that is a RATS tourniquet, an RATS. Yes, Tom just put up a RATS tourniquet. Now, the reason I carry a RATS tourniquet is they are smaller, but so with them being smaller, and I know that there's like Doppler of them not being able to shut down bleeding in a grown man's leg, and all of this stuff, and there were some kind of maybe falsified claims allegedly and a bunch of drama that ensued with it. But the one thing that they can do is, yes, right here, tiny people, small humans, kids, and the other thing, dogs. Because
nice.
I'm a dog lover. Like I love all dogs more than most people. So just because they can generally have a better conversation. Not in the way Jeremy from We Like Shooting loves dogs, but and that is, they are important things to have, and that RATS tourniquet is worthwhile to have because of that. And otherwise, softies and cats carry tourniquets and carry multiple.
Yeah.
Also in my trauma kits, I do have a Sharpie,
which is a great thing to have for a tourniquet.
Yep, because you should mark. I do remember that blue tourniquet you just held up.
Yeah, right here.
You bought that at Brownells, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
The reason why I said is I remember the conversation about why would they have this blue tourniquet. It was, that's for people who don't want a tactical tourniquet.
Yeah, because, black versus blue makes all the difference when saving life.
Precisely. But now, along with that, there is... So, again, we've already established that, we live in a very rural area. And my large medical bag that I carry in my pickup, again, it's also, mine's more of a bandolier or a, it still has a strap on it to throw over the shoulder and take off running with it. It's not a backpack.
Yeah.
But, I carry SAM splints in mine. I carry 2 larges and then 2 finger splints as well. And that's because if I'm at a place that's 50 miles from town, I'm going to meet an ambulance somewhere on the way to town if I have to. And if I'm out there working by myself and I bust a limb, I might not be tough enough to set it myself, but I might have to try or do something. And, that's where we're doing those things. The SAM splints are another cheap thing that I think is important to have in your big kit. It's not carry this with you every day.
Mm-hmm.
It's if you spend any time in the backcountry or in a very rural setting, broken bones are a real possibility. And
Yes.
it's a lightweight, easy to use option. And then, of course, gauzes. That's where I have all the big stuff. I mean, there may be chest decompression needles in there, but I would never use one of those as a civilian.
Your story reminded me of something that happened on the farm a while back. I was planting a field, and my planter got plugged up with straw, so I went outside to kick it free. Ended up dislocating my knee. The phone was in the tractor cab. It took me 45 minutes to crawl up that ladder because, when you're 300 pounds and you have dead weight trying to crawl up a tractor cab, all of a sudden you need 2 legs. And if you don't have 2 legs, it gets very difficult. And so I didn't have proper medical gear. Finally, I got my father on the phone. He came over the pickup, said, well, go to town, get your leg fixed. So I was headed to town, and this is the only time I've ever met a highway patrolman on the east side of Oneida. Decided that I was speeding because I was, and I explained to him the situation. He goes, all right, man, come back to my car. I said, dude, I just dislocated my knee. I can't come back to the patrol car. And so he goes, well, hang tight. I'll go write you a ticket and get you on your way with a dislocated knee. It was a great, super awesome freaking day. And that's my little story of not being properly prepared with medical gear.
Yep. And, that is the thing where there's times when you need it and there's times when you have to have it because you never know, as we talked about, you might get the cut. Like you might even, Garth, get your dainty little hand cut by my awesome VZ grip. And the unique features of VZ grips, they're machined from a solid block of G10. G10 is great because it's durable and doesn't get slippery when covered with mud, blood, or sweat. The 17-degree grip angle and wide variety of textures from mild to extreme, as well as the color options available and shorty versions also. 1911 grips, extreme customizability, standard slim palm swells, thumb notches, safety cuts, bottom profiles, and more. More than 25 textures and 27 colors available. This coupon code is good for 15% off all handgun and rifle grips, and that code is AR-15 Podcast.
You won't cut your hand when you have these super slick, smooth ones from VZ Grips instead. That's all I'm saying about that.
I don't cut my hands on the extreme ones.
No, it's because you can't. Because once you grab them, even if you release your fingers, the grip is still in the palm of your hand because it's sandpapered on.
I don't know what you're talking about. I think they're wonderful.
It's like staples without staples. It is disgusting. And I will say it every time we talk about it. It's awful.
They're great. They're amazing. Never have to wonder where either my hand or my rifle are.
Yeah. Because, because it's so painful. But I digress. That's why they have so many options. And that's why we love VZ Grips.
Exactly. So, as we keep going,
shut up, Thomas.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
No, so guys, the importance of medical is super important, and I would almost say if you don't know anything about medical, go take a medical class before you take any sort of firearm class.
Correct. Even a simple stop the bleed class is a fantastic starter. It's, again, like we said, you're more prone to come up on a car wreck than a gunfight. And we're not saying don't be prepared for any situation. That's exactly what we're saying. But medical it's a lifelong skill. There's always going to be something somewhere that's going to need, attention. And yeah.
Yep. And guys, next week we, not to just completely digress from this. Next week we're gonna have, kind of a more fun episode than the, we're gonna sit around and talk about med kits and why they're important. Oh, there is one other thing that's important to keep in a med kit that you might not think. Duct tape. There are 1,000,001 uses for duct tape. It is handy to have in a med kit. I've used one
Just
more
watch
than
the
I
Red
would
Green
like
Show.
to
You'll
admit.
figure that out.
I've used one for more things than I'm willing to admit.
Yeah, that's fair. No, but yeah, like Nick was saying, come out next week to our show, guys, because it's going to be a super fun episode. We've got a lot planned. We're going to hang out. What did we say we're going to call that?
Well, I don't know, but we may even have some giveaways and some stuff that we're going to pick random listeners to send stuff to. So, which everyone loves because, Thomas will get mad if he wins something because he'll have to, build something.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is okay. But, no, so hang out for, what was it we decided, a year in review holiday party with the AR-15 podcast?
Yeah. We'll shorten that up.
Yeah. It'll definitely be a very, very fun, and you never know who might show up.
Dun, dun, dun. Sure.
Yep. Maybe it'll be just a very AR party.
It could be, but I bet not.
Yes. So, Garth, is there anyone else that we need to talk about, or anyone else that you want to give a shout out to as we talk here?
Well, yeah, we better talk about our good friends over at Patriot Patch, patriotpatch.co, for all your patch accessory needs, from your morale patches to your combat patches to your pop culture patches. They have tin signs, stickers, shirts. Guys, go check out Patriot Patch, patriotpatch.co, and don't forget to join the Patch of the Month Club.
Yep. And also, I almost needed a med kit right now because I went to use my new knife, and I forgot. I came really close because I forgot that this thing is ridiculously sharp.
It looks
curved. It's pointy. But
everyone loves knives.
All right. I'm not going to say you're wrong, but I'm also not going to say.
I mean, would anyone be upset if they got a detent spring? If we do, we're going to ship it in the biggest box we can find.
I would be if I didn't get the detent with the spring.
Fair.
But, no, it's like Garth was saying, check out our friends at Patriot Patch Company. Check out all the other shows on the Firearms Radio Network. And, guys, I hope that everyone out there is having a good, holiday season, whatever you will. Have a happy Hanukkah, a Merry Christmas, a festive Kwanzaa.
And a Happy New Year.
Yeah. And no, that's we'll talk to you again before the new year. But we've got some fun stuff coming up in the new year. And we just got a question here. The best all-around carbine. And BCM is solid. The one I was the most interesting with, or have had, like, I really, really was impressed with, was that Mitchell defense. When I shot that at Rocky Mountain Range today, that shot awesome. Thomas Leith might be onto something. The PSA Sabres, those have been like kind of knocking it out of the park. I know no one who has got a Sabre who has been disappointed in it.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, I would definitely look at Mitchell defense, and that is where I would really look. Mitchell Defense is an awesome company there, Arthur. So, yeah, that's it. And, well, folks, Garth, you got anything else to add?
No, say the words I love to hear.
All right. Well, remember that we live in dangerous times, and you folks out there, you stay safe and stay armed. Support the people who support the show. Primary Arms, VZ Grips, forpatriots.com, and Patriot Patch Company. Be sure to check us out on social media. AR-15 Podcast 2.0 on Instagram. AR-15 Podcast 2.0 on YouTube. AR-15 Podcast 2 on Twitter. AR-15 Podcast on Facebook and wherever podcasts are found. If you just want to drop us a line, let us know how we're doing, or give us a show idea, make sure to send that email to AR-15podcast2.0 @gmail.com.